Alright, hello everybody, and welcome back. Today we're going to look at something a little bit different, and we're going to look at a project that I actually worked on over the course of my game design studies. Um, we're going to look at a progression of game design that I was put through over the past couple of months. And it takes place in several different stages that I will walk you through. So the first stage was designing a level that was suitable with this SCRAPS project. And we'll go ahead and take a look at that process here in this video. So let's just go ahead and jump in. All right, so the Scraps project was designed by a professor at the Fullsail program, and it was designed with the purpose of being used to teach level design. And level design is something that I am particularly passionate about, as you could see in maybe notice in the Bleak Falls Barrow episode that I released last week, where I am playing through Skyrim and I'm pointing out all of the different design elements and the things that the designers and developers really wanted to focus on with that dungeon as they were making it. But this is going to be a little bit more of a behind the scenes view of what that actually looks like from the standpoint of and perspective of an individual that's actually doing that design. So let's start off by introducing the project here. As I said, Scraps was made by a professor for the purpose of this class and to teach level design. Scraps is a first-person action-adventure game set in a post-apocalyptic futuristic setting, wherein the player takes the role of a scrapper, who is a wasteland wanderer that is employed to scavenge for usable materials and bring it back to the great seats of civilized culture that remain, that are known as basts or bastions. These bastions are large superstructures that house society in them, and in them is there's a more cultured, a more refined existence rather than the rough and tumble wasteland survival sort of a deal that you would see in, say, Fallout 4, for example. And so you kind of have these two juxtaposing cultures and civilizations that are going on, and you find yourself right in the middle. You're a scrapper, and you want to eventually, hopefully, earn your way into the Bast by collecting valuable materials and technology and components that may have survived the destruction, by putting your life and limb on the line and scavenging these resources for the Bast in the hopes that they will eventually allow you entry. So we were given this scenario and the base functionalities of a first-person shooter game, and told that within this pre-existing framework, we had to design a level and come up with a mechanic and implement that mechanic and do it in a way that progressively teaches the player how that mechanic works. And so I'm going to go ahead and jump in, and we're going to take a look at this level that I personally made. This one was done by myself without any other team members or assistants. There we go. So here we are. Level begins. We have arrived via rowboat over here out in this middle of nowhere ocean. Looks like some kind of a mountain island. In the original, I had a particle effect smoke cloud coming up from the volcano that indicates that it was a volcano, but unfortunately, due to performance issues, I ended up removing that. But the player spawns in here, and the player will move in, and the first thing that draws the player's attention is this great big silver door. And so the player will walk in, and oh, hey, I bet you I want to go to the other side of that. But obviously the player will be unable to open that door, and so we'll have to explore other means. And they will see this path. Notice how these elongated rails also kind of point and guide the player's eye around this corner here. So they will come through here, following the path, and then find themselves in this chamber, which you can see, we got lava, so okay, volcano. And we come through. Looks like there's a little bit of disrepair here. You know, the pathway is kind of fallen over. Some sort of a facility in here with hollowed out interior of the volcano. Player hops their way around, following the path. And again, right here, we've got lots of the rails up in there, headed to the side. Got piping that are also headed are kind of pointing off into that sideways direction. The path is headed off in that direction, so everything kind of draws your eye this way. So the player comes down and around. We hit that checkpoint, and we are confronted with another door. And this strange apparatus here. When the player steps on this platform, you'll notice that this pillar and this platform there turn red. And the idea behind this is it's a simple puzzle. There's this console here that is also that same red color. There is a blue dot up at the top here. There's a blue same material object here and along this surface of the pillar. So we can assume that forward, okay, that moves the pillar in that direction, and backwards would move it the opposite direction. And the idea is that the player, nope, oh well, I died. The idea is that whenever the player moves the column, the level of the lava rises. And when the player moves the column onto that platform, it activates and the door will open. And so this is what's called the introductory level mechanic. This is just kind of a basic form of the puzzle. There's not a whole lot to it. It's just simple and just is its own thing. Another thing, I want to point out a couple of other things that will become relevant in later videos. These alarms, whenever I interact with one of these buttons, it moves the column, raises the lava level, and causes those alarms to flash. And plays an alarm sound. So what we're going to do is, another thing that I want to point out too is that these light levels are designed to be flickering. They doesn't look like they are flickering at the moment, but just remember those lights for future videos, because I made later developments to them and made them much better. But I will get to all of that again in a future video. So as you can see, I guess we're starting the combat here. Maybe not. There's zombies are the opponents. In this, my original setup here, I was still learning how to use the nav meshes and stuff. You can see that it shuts the zombies off, and it doesn't let them nav outside of this door, which is a bug that I never bothered to fix. Before the first of the two classes ended. So what this is called, what this level is called is called a Blockmesh, and oh, just die. Very glitchy. Anyway, this is called a Blockmesh. It's a very rough layout of how the game is going to, the level is going to look and how it's going to be played. If you notice, all of the textures are all grid. That's a very common dev tool, just used to help the developers get a sense of the space. And so oftentimes when blocking out a level, designers will use grid-like textures just to kind of give that sense of space, help with spatial awareness and scaling. And so this is a unformed, unfinished level. This is the bare bones, how the level works, what the level is accomplishing, and it's the first phase in any design of a level is Blockmesh, is blocking it out. You can find a lot of talks on how to effectively do a good block mesh at a lot of different GDC convention talks and things. Yeah, this level is not very optimized, but that's alright, because this is, again, the block mesh, very early phase. So the idea behind this facility and this level is that there is this volcano. There's a village on the side of the volcano over there that the player actually never sees, because I was working on a conceptual level and I wasn't actually thinking about explaining any of this. But the idea is that this is a facility that keeps the volcano from erupting and keeps the nearby village safe. And so we have a lot of these pipes that you can see are full of lava. Kind of access windows there. This is a kind of a large garage area. That's the other side of that door from the very beginning. We come through that door. Trucks would come through that door and drive across the bridge, open up the gate, and they'd be able to park in here. Just for flavor and aesthetic. Not entirely sure why you would need a garage in here now that I'm thinking about it, but it is what it is. But anyway, player heads up these stairs. Into this chamber here. And again, we have another puzzle. And here I teach something else. So now we can see if we step on this actual platform, it also lights up the columns and the platforms. And now we can see that there are different colors. We have a green column and a green platform, and a yellow column and a yellow platform. But there's no control mechanisms, so you can't move them around. The only direction that the player can actually go is up. And the player is immediately confronted with this door. Notice how the door is more strongly lit, and you come right up. It's directly in front of you. That was a deliberate design choice so that it just grabs your eye as being a way to progress to the next area, and then you can look behind, you can see more puzzle, but you can't get to it because it's through the bars. But there's a button right here, so if we try and open it, it says emergency conditions not detected, so we can't actually open that up yet. So, exploring the more immediate area. Okay, so we got some chairs. Turn around. Okay, these pipes are kind of converging down over here. Oh, there's the activators and the buttons. And a transparent floor. And stepping on this, you can now see that it activates all of these. Now this is a white column. There's the white column. So the white column needs to go to the white pedestal. So with the directionality towards the blue is there. So we need to go backwards. We need to go over, 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 and then up. And then the white center will turn black, indicating that it is locked in place. And now when I step off, notice that the white one is still lit, indicating that it is triggered. Let's come over here and let's do this yellow here. So that's over, back, 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 over. So directionality, so left, back, 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 right. And goes black, indicating that it is also in the proper location now. Okay, so this one. Okay, so this is going to be backwards. So the beam is, or the blue is that way. So we're going to go backwards. Over, nope, other over. Everything's inverse, and then backwards, backwards. Okay, and that opens, or triggers that one, and opens up these first two doors there. And the second thing that we're going to do is this one. So, directionality, gotta go this way once, up twice, sideways this way twice, and then back twice. And then these doors will open as well. So now we can go downstairs, and we have some new areas to explore here. So we have some pickup items. Grab this, kind of get some healing going on a little bit. Collect some money. More money. Okay. Coming through here. Now we enter this room. Now notice we got a lot of pumps laying up on here. This is just kind of giving that aesthetic of a lava control facility. And we got a button here. Generator 1 access. So we activate that and it opens this. That we can come up and remove the power core. Now, as you can hear, there's a lot of alarms playing. There's a lot of caution tapes and messages, kind of like over a PA system sort of a deal. And that is when the player removes that power core from the generator. So the idea is that the power core is why the player is here. The player is here to remove that power core and return it to the bastion. Now, there's a secondary generator over here that the player could also access, but only one generator can be taken offline at a time. So there's two generators. Once you activate the one of them, you cannot activate the other, just so the other can power the remaining emergency systems. Now, we were just prompted to evacuate by the sirens. So evacuate, we're gonna go back to where we came from. Let's see if we can go back the way we came. So no, we can't, because we've moved the lava level. As we were moving the columns around, the lava level has risen. So we cannot go back the way we came. Let's look out the window and see if we can see the, there we go. Yeah, so the lava level has almost completely obscured that initial entrance over there. So we're gonna have to find a new way out of here. So we can go up. And now notice that this button is no longer blacked out because we are in emergency conditions. We can open the button and open the security gate. So we enter the security gate and we are faced with the mastery level of the puzzle. So, but this is the practice. Remember, we started off down below. That was the introductory to the mechanic. This is the practice section. Because it gives the player a simple environment, shows that there can be multiple colors on a platform, and slightly complicated moving directions. And in the mastery, it is even more complicated and difficult, because now we're looking at things sideways, and not only are we looking at things sideways, but there are multiple columns on each, and it's a less convenient viewing angle. So to solve this puzzle, it takes exactly the same set of concepts as the initial puzzle. There we go. It just is a little bit more complex and more satisfying. Oop, that's the wrong way. So another thing that I didn't point out, if the player, I'll do it with this purple one. So right, back, right. Okay, so I want to show you something. So the purple column is here. I'm going to send the purple column forward, which will put it onto this black space. And watch what happens when I have it do that. Oh, there we go. Oh, so you can see it right about there. It moves into that space, and then it reverts to its original position while playing a sound. So if the columns overlap another column, or overlaps a unlit little activator slot, it'll revert it to its original position, and the player will have to restart with that column over again. That way. So, in just a second, I'm going to trigger this, and it is going to move this onto that pink platform. That is going to trigger this lava level down here to kind of start going haywire. And the volcano to start erupting. The player will have to run and beat that lava level across this bridge before the level rises and actually meets and catches up to the player. There's going to be a lot of alarm noises. I was not very good with the optimization of the sound effects in this level, so please bear with me. But let's go ahead and run it. And that is the end of the initial level. Now, that whole level and design and setup took me about a full month to design and code and blueprint. I was responsible for creating the flickering overhead lights, for designing the overall layout of the level. I created the logic and code that governs the puzzle, and made the columns and the platforms and everything that has to do with those. And then that class ended. This is the final result of that class. And in the next class, which I'm going to take a couple of videos on, the next class, we took this concept and we built on it. And I do say we, but I will get into that for next time. For now, thanks for watching. Like and subscribe. I'll catch you next time.